The fact is, when you're out in the real world, there's nobody telling you, hey, you're about to fight with somebody who has this many fights or this much ring experience. It's up to you to be able to see the signs and decide, is this person super dangerous or can I just kind of write them off? Otherwise, you could get yourself into a situation where somebody's just able to, boom, hit you and you weren't ready whatsoever. I want you to think for a split second about how you would act differently at the gym, how you would spar differently if somebody said, oh, here's a beginner, I want you to do some rounds with them. Give them their first sparring rounds ever, versus going against somebody who has something like 50 plus fights, right? You're completely on a different level of focus. Somebody who's brand new, you're just kind of like, oh, and you're just playing around, you're kind of thinking of other things. Then all of a sudden you're going against somebody you know is better than you. You know they're a threat. And all of a sudden that animalistic instinct to survive kicks in. Well, we want to be able to do that when we're in a street fight situation where we have to defend ourselves. And lots of people say, yeah, you know, just run away. But what if you can't? I've always been able to exit situations and be like, yeah, I'm going away, but I've never had somebody else around that I have to take care of where I'm going, okay, you know, this girlfriend is with me or my mom is with me, right? That changes things, and having little pointers to know what kind of threat you have in front of you, I think that's very important. So I want to share with you 6 signs that the person across from you could be very dangerous and have fighting experience. Because we have to remember, not everybody looks like a fighter. People would say like, oh, what does a fighter look like? Oh, they're big, they're strong, they're muscular. Maybe they have a scar across their face. No. That's not always the person that you need to be scared of. And everybody, if you are looking to up your striking skills in the gym, which will help you defend yourself better on the street, anyway, make sure you grab my Strike Ready courses. Right now we have an offense bundle where you can grab Assault, where we focus on the striking, and Takedown, where we focus on how to toss somebody to the ground, how to avoid getting tossed to the ground yourself. Both of those for just $99, link down below. So what is one of the first signs when we square off with somebody or somebody's getting our face, they're getting a little pushy, or whatever the situation might be? What is one of the first signs that this person actually has fighting experience and we need to be very concerned? I would say it is pretty much the absence of fear. I want to say the complete absence of fear, but I think there's always some fear in people. But if you see somebody across from you and they just look completely focused, zero fear, I would say, ooh, okay. Number one, they either have loads of confidence from the training they've done, or number two, they're somebody who's had many street fights and this is just another day at the office for them. Be aware of the fear, be aware of small things like people who kind of, you know, start twitching a little bit or doing something like that. And that is a good sign that yes, they're not comfortable in this situation. But if they are, you need to be ready. And you need to understand there could be a real threat there. Now, if somebody is doing a great job maintaining distance, but they're just outside striking range, I would say this is something that you need to understand and go, whoa, this is a threat. Because being way back here indicates, oh, I'm really scared, I don't want to be involved in this situation, I'm not comfortable. Being right up in your face, I go, again, they're not very understanding of the situation, because when you get here to here, it's too easy. But when they're just outside that zone, even if their hands are down, they're looking neutral, they're not looking aggressive, but they're just outside that range, that means you can't hit them, but they could be very ready to spring, to take that little step in, close the distance, and be on the attack right away. So as soon as somebody looks like they have that understanding of that distance, that range, I would go, ooh, okay, maybe they know what they're doing. Now next, we want to note their awareness. What does that mean? If there's a situation happening, are they 100% focused right here? Are they only staring at you? Are you taking every bit of attention they have? Or are they silently scouting out? Are they standing here and just, you know, just doing this type of thing? That means they have that spatial awareness and they're concerned of other attackers. They're concerned about everything. And when they have those peripherals working, you know they've had some type of training. Because the average person, the person who like starts peacocking and gets right up on your face, I'm not as concerned about that person in terms of, oh, they're somebody who's trained a lot. Yes, they're aggressive. Yes, they're right up there. But in terms of training, when somebody has that situational awareness and they're taking in threats from all angles, you better believe that they're going to be able to deal with these attacks if you start throwing them. Now, of course, posture and stance is something that we can look at and get a lot of information from. In general, if you see somebody when they realize there's a threat and they're just kind of looking mousy and they're like this, I'd go, oh, okay, there's less likelihood that they're going to be somebody that's super dangerous. But as soon as you see them take 1 foot slightly back, 1 foot slightly forward, blade just a little bit, do something like posturally, just, you know, they start raising their shoulders so they're ready to protect. Anything small like that shows that, yes, they've had some training. They understand in the smallest little adjustments, the smallest little ways that they can keep themselves that much safer for a possible incoming threat. And it's always going to be looking at the feet, checking the posture, and just being aware, does this person have training? Because it takes a lot of time for somebody to learn those subtle little things where, just like this, they know, okay, I'm a lot safer than when I was right there. But it can come in such an easy, small, subtle way, right? If somebody's here and they just go like that, you might not even notice, but that's a good sign. Now, steady eye contact. I would be on the lookout for that. Obviously, like we already talked about, they might have the situational awareness where they're kind of doing something like this and they're scouting out. They're not going to do this. You know they're not going to turn their back, but they could easily be going like this, still watching you, but taking in their surroundings. But if that eye contact is locked on, especially if they're not being really aggressive about it, they're not like this, but they're just locked onto you. A little bit of movement, something just like this, I'd be going, whoa, okay, the eye contact and the surrounding assessment, that's a danger. And I feel like a lot can be read in eyes, even in face-offs when I fight. When I stand there and I face off with somebody and I see their eyes and we make that eye contact, that blinking or trying to looking down and breaking eye contact, to me, that goes, okay, I've kind of got you now. Now, it's very different in street self-defense situations, but of course, somebody who's confident, who's zoning in on you, who's kind of looking through to you, they're assessing, to me, yes, that's a warning sign that they could have some experience. And the very last thing would be the reaction speed. So if you happen to do a step and you see them quickly step away, or if you twitch and they flinch and it's fast, reaction time is a great way to go, oh, this person has some sort of martial arts training. Or they don't. If they just sit there sort of dumbfounded, if you were to twitch or you see somebody twitch at them and they're just like, oh, and they freeze, yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But when we see that solid reaction time, we can go, whoa, warning signs, there's a danger, and we need to be ready. For any move we make, they're gonna make the counter move. That's the danger. So those 6 things are small little hints you can look for when you're facing off across somebody. And this is more so definitely for the street. But of course, some of these might even play out a little bit in the gym, in small ways, in very small ways. But we've already talked about signs that people can display when they're in the gym, which are gonna make them look like a real sparring threat. Again, these are more so for the street. So you guys be careful out there. Start to be able to understand situations, hone in on if somebody is a threat or if they're not. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful. If you have your own little tips on what you've noticed throughout the years on how to keep yourself safe from understanding somebody's martial arts experience, drop them in the comments below. I'm sure everybody who's watching this, who's throwing their own comments down, would love to read and learn from you as well. Thanks for joining, guys.